Good evening, everybody. Let me welcome you on behalf of the Bombay Management Association to another very interesting edition of the Wednesday Wisdom webinar. This is Professor Mani, delighted to welcome you to a very unique session today by someone who is an achiever by herself, Aditi Govitrikar, who incidentally is also a doctor, a psychologist, but of course, very popularly known as the first Mrs. World winner many years ago, almost 20 years ago. And we are going to interact with her in a new avatar, 20 saal baad, as they would say. Thank you, Mr. Suresh Matre, our past president, for making this introduction and helping us have this very unique session today on the BMA platform of Wednesday Wisdom webinar. As usual, we request you to put in your questions in the chat box after the presentation that we can discuss with Dr. Aditi. And towards the end, of course, we can have some discussions and charcha. On this note, let me welcome all of you to this edition of Wednesday Wisdom webinar. And we are looking at how to move towards stress-free living through a therapy, which Aditi will explain to us. Thank you so much, Dr. Aditi, for agreeing to be part of this wonderful event at the Bombay Management Association. It's our honor to host you here this evening. And may I request Mr. Suresh Matre to please introduce Aditi to all of us. Over to you, Suresh.
Thank you. Good afternoon, friends. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Aditi Govitrikar. She is a mental health professional. But however, she has worn multiple crowns in the past, and some of them quite literally. She is, of course, an MBBS doctor and a medical professional, but she also won the Gladrags Supermodel Contest and actually had a successful career as a supermodel. And as Business Today rightly said, a true beauty with brains. After the Gladrags Supermodel Contest, she won Mrs. World, as Professor Mani said. And in fact, even till today, remains the only Indian to be Mrs. World. So we've had a lot of Miss Worlds from India, but the only Mrs. World. She's a well-known actor in both Bollywood and a superstar in Telugu films. She's also starred in a lot of iconic music videos. But today, we are meeting her in her avatar as a psychologist. She has already done a master's in psychology from Harvard University and is currently doing her second master's. She is a certified psychologist counselor. And what is very interesting to us in BMA is that she mentors corporates through a transformational workshop. She has recently undertaken a 21-day holistic wellness program. And she has got great success in introducing stress-free living, particularly during these COVID times. So great pleasure in introducing Dr. Aditi Govitrikar. Aditi, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Suresh. Thank you, Professor Mani, and hello everyone who's on this Zoom session. It's a pleasure being here with you guys. And yes, I have recently launched my 21-day transformation program. It's all about holistic living. So the question comes to our mind that what is holistic living, which is the whole purpose of having this conversation for me to give you a slight, an insight to what I have planned for everybody. So yeah, it's not possible to complete all of it in just half an hour, but I will try my best. I have a presentation now, which I will share with you, with your permission, Professor Mani. All right.
Perfect.
Okay, so basically what we will delve into today is how to live life without being stressed. Now, stress is part of life. We cannot wish for a zero stress life. That is not possible at all. So when I say holistic well-being, what does it mean? It's not merely the absence of illness, as most people think that, okay, I don't have an illness, I'm fine. No, that is not what holistic well-being is. It pretty much focuses on the person as an entire being, along with the mind, body, and soul. So it's pretty much a very broad umbrella, of course, where, you know, what every human being wants is being happy. To which I say that, yeah, happiness is the goal, should be the goal. However, we also need to keep in mind that if there is grief, if there is any negative emotion, for example, you have to be aware of it, you have to feel it, accept it, and then process it, and then get back on track and feel happy, light, and liberated as the life is supposed to be lived, which right now we've pretty much forgotten because of the unusual circumstances. So what I have done is I've gone ahead and divided holistic well-being in 8 buckets or 8 pillars, and I call this 8 infinite. Why infinite is because no matter, it does not matter how fit you are. For example, if you take the first pillar, it does not matter how physically fit you are, but you can always go to the next level. So whether it's strength, stamina, or your strength, stamina, or flexibility, you can always improve on each of those aspects. Similarly with nutrition, what is nutrition? We will go into a little bit of details of each of these. So very important to see that, you know, I tell my clients to imagine 8 buckets, and every single day you have to look at each bucket, because there is always one bucket which is perhaps even kept upside down. So we need to again turn it and start filling in a drop every day. So when you start looking at these buckets, you will realize that some buckets are full. You don't need to pay that much attention. You just need to be aware, so that in case it goes down, if in case the level goes down, you have to fill it again. And there are some which we've completely ignored, so we need to start looking at those, so that we are able to live well the way we are meant to. Now this is my favorite slide, because you can read it. It's like we are constantly hankering after things. We always say, oh, if I have this, then I will be happy. Or you get stuck in the past, where you say, you know, if this had not happened, I would have been better, I would have been happy. But again, it doesn't matter how you are, what you are. The trick is to be aware and then start actually becoming the architect of your life. And it is a possibility. It does not matter what you've gone through. It does not matter what situation you are in or what stress you're going through. The minute you take the responsibility and the accountability of yourself, you will start making a change. And you will then go into this whole holistic well-being space, which allows you to be creative, which allows you to be liberated. You feel that, you know, the lightness of being, which as a child we all have felt, right? So you get back into that zone. So like I said, that I've divided this into 8 different pillars or 8 buckets. So what does it mean? What does each one mean? Physical well-being is very obvious, that, you know, you have to look at your physical well-being, because ultimately your mind and your soul live in this temple. And most of the times what I have seen is that people take it for granted, A. B, people keep eating what they're eating when they're 20 without realizing that you don't need that much food anymore. And no, having a stomach at 40 is not a sign of prosperity. No, it does not mean that 40 means, yeah, stomach aaya hai, so it's okay. It is not okay. We make it normal, but it is not normal. So by being, again, careful with how your body is, whether you need to work on strength, stamina, or flexibility, you can take up a challenge. You can start working out. A simple walk for 1 hour every day. Or if you stay on 3rd floor or 4th floor, don't take the lift. Doing simple activities like these will improve your physical well-being. Coming to nutritional well-being, what you eat. So I have always said this, that we are, or I am, what I eat and what I think. These 2 things make me who I am. So what you're putting in your body is very, very crucial. Now, I don't believe in going into fad diets or having a 0 figure, or, you know, having biceps and triceps. All I'm saying is that you have to be energetic. You have to wake up every morning thinking that, let me take this day on, let me set an intention for the day, let me see what I can do today so that I'm a better person than what I was yesterday. And a majority of it is through your nutrition. So becoming aware of what you're eating, right? That, and having nourishing food that is not from packets, that's straight from nature. So nature has packaged it for you, not a human being. Simple techniques like these will transform you where your nutritional aspect is concerned. Emotional well-being. Now, today we all are going through so much of pressure, stress, anxiety, mental disorders are on a rise. It's unbelievable what people are going through. So how do you look after your emotions? If you are emotionally well, then you can handle all other aspects as very well. You know, it's all interlinked. All these eight aspects of eight infinite are like, it's like a chain, you know. So you have to identify the weak link and then strengthen it. So the next one is social well-being. Now this is having meaningful relationships. A lot of people have a lot of friends and colleagues and associates, but that one meaningful relationship in life, you know, or two or three at least, you know, if you start nurturing those, to say that, you know, this person is my 2 a.m. friend or 3 a.m. friend, which means that irrespective of what situation I am in, that person will be there for you to hold your hand and walk you through whatever it is that you're going through. But developing a relationship takes time, it takes effort. So it's almost like a little sapling, you know, you have to give it water every day, you have to give it fertilizer. But developing these relationships play a very big role in having a healthy state of mind. So one has to become aware of it, write down the names of people who mean something to you, and keep in touch and develop and work on these. Intellectual well-being, one thing which I feel very strongly about is my brain. So for me, I do not like working out at all. I detest it, in fact. So this is uh, you know, I'm just sharing it with you. But I do work out because for me, how I look at it is, and this is through research and reading and everything, which I realized is that for my brain to be sharp and so before that, I'll just complete one more story, that earlier when I used to think about death, which is a little bit of a morbid topic, but that's the only truth in life, really. So I used to think that, okay, I want to die in my sleep. I don't want to be aware. But now, after the work that I have done, which is I've been practicing Vipassana for last 12 years, what I realized was, no, I don't want to die in my sleep. I want to be aware. I want to be in full consciousness when I die. So I want my brain to be as sharp as it is today. But for that, I have to start work from now, which a major part of that is being physically fit. So if I'm physically fit, my brain also will remain fit, which is where intellectual well-being comes into the picture. Now, what happens is most of us, we feel that, you know, I've got a college degree, I've maybe done a post-graduation, a super specialization, my education is complete. However, it's very, very crucial to understand that we have to give our brain food every day. You use it or you lose it. So, and research has also proven that it's not that, you know, the intellect or the IQ that you're born with is it. It has proven that if you work on your brain, the neuroplasticity is so powerful that you can keep growing your brain. You can keep growing those synapses between the neurons, and you can become smarter, and you can develop your IQ. But the thing is that we put a stop to our education. We do not invest in our self-growth at all. Yeah, we just become so busy with busyness and the gadgets and the distractions that we don't spend enough time in developing our brain. And it doesn't take much. It does not take much at all. So that is intellectual well-being. Very, very, I feel very strongly about it, as I'm sure you must have experienced it. Next is the environmental well-being. What I surround myself with becomes a very crucial part. Nature, being aware of nature, recycle, reuse. How are we with our environment? What is it that I surround myself with? Is there clutter? Is there cleanliness? Am I tidy? Am I clean? These play a big role in how I think. A simple example of environmental well-being is, start making your bed tomorrow morning. The first thing when you wake up, and you're out of your bed, just clean the bed and make it this. And you will see that your day will start becoming very productive. Very simple technique. Financial well-being, I don't need to stress on this at all. You guys are from the business community, so I'm not going to speak much about it. But yeah, ultimately we run after money, we as in most of the human beings. But just know that money should give you that freedom of time. And that is the purpose of money. So if you keep this context when you're looking at money or thinking of money, that will automatically stimulate different kind of thinking. That why do I need money? What do I want money for? Because after a certain amount, it's of no use really. You have to eat dal chawal, you have to eat roti sabzi. You're not going to eat platinum, or you're not going to eat gold, right? You need a good house, you need a good living. And after that is what? What is the point of having money? Is that it lets you do whatever you want to do. So you have that freedom. So start looking at money in that direction. If you see that with that lens, your attitude towards money will change. Spiritual well-being, now again, being a Vipassana follower, I feel very strongly about this, that it is going within. And I've always said this, that just by going within to transform, it's not enough. Because I experienced that by myself. When I started doing Vipassana, I realized that I also need certain hand holding from people who are out there. So a connection between what you are within and seeking external help together will definitely help you to live your life in a holistic manner. So this is, again, it's not rocket science really. Why do you have to, I mean, I'm fine the way I am. What is the need? Why should I do it? You know, that's all fine. But then we always want to go to the next level, which is perhaps why you're here listening to me. So to elevate your life, to be a human that you are, you know, constantly working on yourself, going to the next level, because you know you can do it. We all have the potential, we all have the superpower, but we need to work on it. So I can feel whatever I feel, but if I work with my feelings, then I'm not going to take action. So that is a very crucial part, that feelings is fine, but you also have to support it with actions. Just because I don't feel like working out today, the day is gone and I'm not getting to the next level of physical fitness, right? So sometimes you have to go beyond your feelings. However, remember that 95% of the times our decisions are based on feelings. So becoming aware of your feelings and then adding your action part to it will take you to the next level. Okay, so now coming to stress. So this is just a small trailer of, you know, what I do as a counselor or a psychologist. Is we look at stress. And what is stress? Actually, it is your bodily reaction to whatever is happening. So it is something that is happening with you or to you, which you don't want, or something that has happened which you want and it's not happening. So it's both the aspects which causes stress to you. Yeah, and there are many reasons for it. I mean, even a thought of something can cause stress. Now, also know that there is distress and there's eustress, EUSTRESS, which is a good stress. Okay, that is necessary in life. So without stress, so zero stress is no good. We have to have some stress. And an example of eustress is somebody is getting married, or somebody's promoted but has to shift, has to go to another town. Yeah, so these that gives a certain kind of a stress, but that's good stress, right? So stress has become very high nowadays. It's people are going through a lot of anxiety, stress, and other issues. So this is what it is, right? Especially in this pandemic, in the lockdown, when people say that this is a new normal, I don't agree with it, because it is not normal. What we are going through is not normal. So we cannot say that, you know, oh, this is new normal, let's just live with it. We have to become aware that it is not. So it's okay. Another example of, you know, normalizing things is when a lot of clients that I have come to me and say that, you know, every evening I get a headache, and that's fine. But it's not. So if you get a headache at the end of the day, it's not normal. So do not normalize it. Take steps so that you get beyond. You get back to your normal, happy self. So do not normalize illnesses. Do not normalize if suddenly you break down and you start crying for no reason. It's not normal. So start becoming aware of these things. Now, what is the cognitive, a little bit of psychology is cognitive cycle of stress is that thoughts, behavior, and action. So it's like a triangle. If you see this, it's, you know, it's connected. How I feel is how I will behave. Somebody says something to me and my thought is that, you know, that's not nice, I'm insulted, this is not the way to speak to me. So my whole energy goes down, my shoulders hunch, I start looking down, I'm not making eye contact, I start getting irritated, I start getting angry. So the whole thing then comes to what is my thought. But there is a therapy called as cognitive behavior therapy, which focuses on behavior, because a lot of human beings find it easy to change the behavior, because of which then, since it is connected, If you change your behavior, your thoughts will change automatically. So suppose I'm feeling low and I'm looking down, I'm hunched down, but I say no, that, you know, I want to change my behavior. So I just roll back my shoulders. I start looking up. Automatically, my thought process, the way I'm feeling, automatically changes. So it's very, again, closely connected. So one can change the other. Yeah. So again, if somebody says something to me, the whole thing goes into that I start feeling stressed out. Yeah. So that is what happens with stress. Now, what are the instant? Of course, I do, when I do the program, it's done in a lot more detail. However, because I have only 7 more minutes, I won't be able to take you through others. I'd love to do the techniques with you. But what are the instant stress relieving techniques that one can use? One is, of course, don't react. Easier said than done. Do not react immediately. Okay, step away if possible. Now, when you step away, the thing to remember is that you cannot ever, no matter if it is a conflict resolution, if you're having a discussion, you're having an argument or a full-blown fight, you should never step away without informing the other. It does not matter how loudly you're shouting, screaming, or how bitter the fight is. If you're going to step away, inform the other person. Just say very gently that right now, this is not the time that we can continue with this conversation. I'm going to step out for 5 minutes. I'm going to have a glass of water. I will come back and we will resume this conversation. So what happens is the temperature that is so high in the room will automatically go down, and creating a space between the two parties will calm you down. You will start thinking, not from your limbic brain, which is a survival mode that we go through, this fight or flight mechanism, which exists in us for centuries, and we start thinking with our neocortex, which is the frontal brain, which is a brain which allows you to analyze, take informed decisions. So that starts getting activated. So step away if possible. Breathing techniques really help. So these can be done when you step away, or as you become proficient in these techniques, you can even do whilst you're speaking. Yeah, when the other person is speaking and you're listening, you can do these, not Anulom Vilom, but you can definitely do Anapana or deep breathing. So for people who have done yoga, Anulom Vilom is part of your yoga practices if you've done it. Anapana is the beginning of Vipassana technique, which I of course teach in my 21 days transformation. And deep breathing is just gentle, deep breathing. So take deep breaths, but take them in such a way that you're not forcing the breath. No, not that kind of deep breathing, but in a way where even the next person, if he's right next to you or she's right next to you, should not even know. It should be so gentle. So what that does is breathing is very strongly connected with our psyche, with our physiology. So by taking deep breaths, automatically you calm your system down, and then you're able to not focus on the problem, but you start thinking of solutions. So these breathing techniques help you in relieving the stress immediately. Now make your own mantra. Mantra is pretty much affirmations, if you're aware that, you know, on a visiting card, you know, the backside, which is blank, you write down statements which are positive. So you should never ever use a negative word in the statement. Why? Because if I tell everyone that, okay, don't think of a pink elephant. The image that comes to your mind is a pink elephant. But I have said don't, right? So that's how it works. That if I want to be happy, so I will not say I don't want to be sad. I will say that I am happy in present tense. So those are the mantras, those are the affirmations which you write on a visiting card. Make 2 or 3. Those are good. Whatever your goal is. So if you want a Mercedes, say I have a Mercedes. And then in bracket, you can always write the details. The more details you mention on that card, the better it is. But don't make it a paragraph. Make it very succinct. Make it very, very sharp. And what do you do with these? So you have 2 or 3 of these cards. You can make a set of 2 or 3. So one, keep it by your bedside. Always remember that the time you are about to go to sleep and the time you just wake up, these are very powerful times, because our brain goes through a certain wave pattern, right? And at this time, you're very vulnerable to suggestion. So it's almost like you can hypnotize yourself, not really hypnotize, but in that very suggestion kind of mode. So reading these the minute you wake up and just before you sleep, will show you results very quickly. And throughout the day, do it 2 to 3 times. Just say it aloud that I am happy. I have a Mercedes, or whatever it is that you want to say. So this again, how does it help with stress? Is that you raise your vibration, you raise your energy, you put yourself in a state where, because the mind does not know otherwise. To give you another example, what do I mean by mind doesn't know otherwise is that right now, just imagine a nice yellow, like the color of, my slide at the bottom. Imagine that lime, the nice juicy lemon. Now I'm cutting it. I'm cutting it in, and it's so juicy that the juice is coming out of as I'm cutting it. And I'm showing you this half of it. Now you will realize that most of you will have saliva in your mouth. You start, secreting saliva. Now I don't even have the lemon. I'm just saying that I have a lemon. Just by saying it, it's stimulated a physiological response in your body. So the mind doesn't know otherwise. Similarly, with these cards, these affirmations, they are very, very powerful. So you can utilize this, because this by itself will raise your vibration. And when you're feeling good about yourself, it automatically puts you in a better position to tackle any stress. And that you must have seen, right? If you sleep well, if you eat well, it automatically makes a difference to how you deal with different aspects in life. PMR is progressive muscle relaxation. So I take the participants through a technique which allows you, now this is used in psychology, in counseling as well. So it helps you in relaxing your body immediately. Like it's maybe a 5 to 7 minute technique, but like instantly it helps you to relax. So that is progressive muscle relaxation. What are the long-term stress relief techniques? Again, no rocket science. However, we don't do it. We know we have to do it. We know it's good for us, but we don't land up doing it. So regular exercise, very important. It does not matter what age you are, what situation you're in. You can exercise anywhere. That you don't need to go to the gym. Remember that, because we always associate, oh my God, who's going to go to the gym? Anyway, gyms are shut right now, so I will start working out when the gyms. No. You have to move your body. And this is another thing which I say is that today what has happened is that our mind is all over the place and our body is not moving, but it should be the other way around. Your mind should be still and your body should be moving. So just start thinking about this, what I just said. Yeah. So exercise, you can do it at home. There is so much of material that's available right now, which you can follow. Just do push-ups, do 10 push-ups every day, do 10 squats every day, sit against a wall in squat position, hold a plank for 30 seconds. There's so much that we can do even at home, right? You can walk so that you complete whatever 8,000 steps, 10,000 steps at home, or you can go down in your compound. It's possible to do that. Weight loss, most of us can lose a couple of kilos, but this is a generic term. It's not applicable for everybody, obviously. Sleep plays a very big role, and we most of us are sleep deprived because we don't consider it to be as a necessity. But a lot of issues get sorted if you sleep and you wake up on time. So the quality and quantity both is very, very crucial. Nutrition I've already spoken about. Having positive attitude. So this does not mean that if I'm grieving or if I'm unhappy, I don't feel it. You have to feel each emotion very deeply. If you had a loss of a loved one, for example, you have to grieve. You cannot say that, no, I have a positive attitude, it's fine. No, grieving process is very, very important. Getting angry is very, very important. Having emotions is part of being human, right? And all this obviously comes with a diet plan. Fitness, for example, 80% of weight loss, for example, comes from your kitchen. So 20% is your workout. So being aware of this will also help you to be fitter so that you can deal with stress in a much better manner. So this is a very prayer which is very close to my heart, because there are certain things in life which you can't change. There are certain weaknesses which we have which we can't change. So it's best to accept them, own them, and then work on the weaknesses that we can work on, and of course play with your strengths. So knowing the difference, that's where wisdom comes into the picture. So that is what I speak about in my 21-day transformation program. Of course, this is just a quick, short brief on what happens. I believe very powerfully and strongly where meditation is concerned. So we do almost half an hour of meditation every day. I do a guided meditation every single day, which is different, so that then you can choose whatever it is that you want to choose. So having said that, that's all I have time for just now. Professor Mani, now it's over to you.
All right. Thank you very much. I think that was very, very absorbing and very inspiring. And I think what was the hallmark of your sharing was the passion with which you shared everything and the simple tips that you suggested that perhaps anyone who is determined to do so can start practicing them from maybe 1 hour later. They can start the walking regime, if I may say so. Thank you so much. It was really very inspirational. I have a lot of questions in the chat box. So without much ado, I'm going to begin posing some of these questions to you.
Sure.
The first question that comes up is, one of the participants is very keen to know a little more about Anapana. You did mention about it, and I know that it's a very, very detailed area, but if you could throw a little more light on that, it is something very fascinating.
Sure. So Anapana meditation is pretty much the beginning of Vipassana. Like I shared that I have been doing Vipassana for last 12 years. I've done 4 10-day courses, though it's nothing to do with the number of retreats that you've gone for at all. It is the progress that you make every single day. 1/3 of Vipassana meditation consists, the first 1/3 consists of Anapana meditation, which we as participants or students of Vipassana are allowed to share with everybody. The Vipassana technique per se, I'm not allowed to teach, so I don't teach that. Anapana is basically observing your breathing, your normal natural breathing, and that's all. Now, what happens is a lot of people ask me that what about music, or what about chanting, you know, a syllable or a word, or saying some mantras. So, which is great. I mean, any form of meditation, according to me, is fine. But what the science of Vipassana is that ultimately that is like an external help that you're seeking. So you're basically distracting your mind. When you're listening to music, it's outside of you. So there is sensory input, you're listening to it and you're distracting yourself. So that works, of course. But if you want to go deeper and if you want the real impact, then breathing is the best because it is with you throughout your life. You can observe it and you can go deeper and deeper with the help of your breathing. So that is Anapana meditation.
All right. There's an important point made by somebody. Very often people say that stress is temporary and it goes away. How do I ensure that it doesn't come back?
Well, if I had the answer to that, then I would be a Nobel Prize winner. There is no way that stress will not come back. But of course, and again, stress might be temporary or it might be chronic. It might be long term. It depends on what the situation is, and it depends how what your personality is. So I might be like, I used to be a worrier. I was a chronic worry. I would worry about simplest of things. So then stress is there as my companion everywhere. When I started work on myself, I realized that this is my weakness. I need to change it. So the capability and the capacity to handle stress is going to happen. That is part of life. We have to know that. Like change is part of life, so is stress. Stress to hona hi hai. But it is up to you how to handle it. It is up to you what you think about the situation or whatever it is happening in which is causing the stress.
All right. Going further on stress, I think a lot of people are very stressed, as you mentioned somewhere in the beginning. The next question is related to the fact that our external environment is different for different people, and therefore it has an impact on the stress. Now, how does one tackle this scenario?
That's a very good question, because this is the example which I also use, is that if I make all of us sit in one line and look at the same picture or same scenario, and if I ask you to write down what you see, there will be no two similar descriptions. Every person will see the world from who they are or what they see. And unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know whether it's good or bad, is that we only end up seeing 2 to 3% of what's around us. And this, when I read about this, I was quite shocked. So there is so much more that by stilling your mind, by calming your mind, you start observing, you start noticing. So yeah, external environments are different for everybody, but so is internal environment. Even twins identical twins, they react to the same situation differently. It's because of our makeup, the way we are, what our DNA is, what our memories are. It's all a combined thing.
There are a couple of questions about your 21-day transformation program.
Yeah.
I assured the audience that we will share the details with you, or Dr. Aditi's office will share it with you later, because it's a rather detailed document. But since there has been this question, would you like to just give a quick glimpse of this program? What is covered in this program?
Sure. So first, I'm currently doing my second batch. Every month, first of every month is when I launch the next batch for 21 days. So the timings right now are 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I'm also thinking of launching it in the evening because people have asked me for evening slots as well. However, I've not reached in my mind, okay, what is the best time where it will suit everybody? So 2 batches is what I have in mind from January. But right now it's in the mornings, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., in which I deal pretty much. So we take, the journey is such that we allow the past to go back into past, because a lot of us are affected by the past. Now, it's not that you can press CTRL delete, right? Unfortunately. So the past will remain with us. So we remain aware of what the past is, but the clutches or the claws of the past, which doesn't allow you to run. So to give you an example, it's almost like you have a backpack with boulders and pebbles and sand on your back of the past, and you're running. So you can't reach that end goal, right? You can't reach the finishing line because the weight is so heavy. So we lighten the load, we kind of get rid of the past. So we put the past back into the past so that the claws and the clutches are taken out. So your present is free. So once you become aware in your present, then you can start building your future. Now, goal setting is an important thing. Being in the present moment, living in the present moment is important, but it cannot be that live for the moment. That's not what it is. So it's a very beautiful combination of goal setting and then letting it go. You parked it somewhere in the future, but it gives you the pathway. So it's like having a GPS that unless and until you don't put the end goal or the destination, the map will not know where to take you. The GPS will not be able to guide you. So it is very important. And also the awareness that, that you set the goals, and people say that, oh, I was doing everything according to what I had planned, but then something happened. So sure, like the GPS again, taking the same example, traffic jam might happen. There might be a breakdown. There might be a hurdle, there might be an obstacle. But if your end goal is put in the GPS, it will show you alternate route to reach there. Yeah. So that is what it is, that you start taking the present and start constructing your life and become the architect of how you want your life to pan out in future. So that is one part of that. Then of course I have a physical trainer, I have a nutritionist who do one webinar throughout 21 days. So 1 hour of webinar is conducted once by the physical trainer and once by the nutritionist. Twice in a week, we do actual workouts with the physical trainer. So the physical well-being part is also taken care of. A nutritional plan is given to everybody. There are tons of exercises that I take the participants through, which then they go back and after the session they continue doing the exercises so that they get on track. Then there is of course time audit, which I get everybody to do, and a lot of people are shocked at actually how much time we have, which we can use fruitfully, we can use productively. So there are many such aspects of 21-day transformation. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think it really reiterates that a healthy body has a healthy mind, and vice versa, as you were also explaining very rightly before. Another interesting question is, how does one distinguish when eustress gets converted to distress?
You will know it by the physiological changes. So if it continues, if I'm getting married and I'm so stressed that I can't sleep, and it continues for a long time, for long duration, it's obviously converted, you start feeling the distress. So you will know for yourself when it is becoming a distress. If you're shouting and screaming all the time and you're not able to handle even simple day-to-day living, then you are in stress.
Right. I have a question here from a very well-read person who is also into a lot of behavioral skills training. He's a member of our BMA executive committee also, Arun Chitlangya. Arun, would you unmute yourself and ask the question, please? Let me help you. Go ahead, Arun.
My pleasure. So, Aditi, we all know that we have to come out of this situation and what to do for stress busting. At the same time, human tendency is that we don't do what we need to do. So the question is, how do I keep myself motivated over a long period of time? So today we heard you for next 3, 4 days, 7 days, 10 days, we are motivated. We will do all the things you have suggested.
Yeah.
Then it may fizzle out. So how to stop that? And one more thing is about the quality sleep, that how I convert my normal sleep into a better quality sleep.
Right. So excellent questions. Thank you, Arun. So basically, how do you stay motivated? Like I shared briefly that, we work with our emotions. Most of the decisions are made with our feelings. When do I feel like working out? Never. I don't like to work out, so I will not work out, right? That is how it is, that we make this whole inspired goal setting on 31st of Jan, that okay, from 1st of Jan, we will go and work out. That doesn't happen. I decide that after 6:30, I'm not going to eat. Chalta hai for 8 days, you go for a party, you eat at 9:30, and then after the second day, acha chalo aaj bhi kha lete, it's a weekend, and then it goes on. So the trick is to be in action mode. The minute you say to yourself, I don't feel like, stop yourself. So awareness becomes a very crucial part of how to stay motivated, how to remain inspired by taking action. Take action immediately. Don't let your feelings take over, right? And you can always have somebody who will hold you responsible, who will hold you accountable for whatever it is that you're doing. For example, one of my participants is always late. She's late by 5 minutes every single day. So I told her that there will be a consequence to this. And what is the consequence? What she lacks in her life, what she needs to work on is her financial well-being. I said, we will take that. So every minute that you're late from tomorrow, 100 rupees will be taken and we will donate it to charity. So I've taken a deposit from her, and tomorrow onwards, I'm actually going to do it, because that's the way to go ahead, so that that impression is lasting on her mind. So that after 21 days program is over, she will still continue to be in that mode. And at times when you go back to your routine, you join another 21-day program.
Right.
Yeah. And
Thank
about
you.
sleep, sorry, the second part of the question was quality sleep. Again, if you're stressed out, if you're anxious about something, it obviously puts you in that mode where your sleep is not as amazing, or that deep sleep where you wake up saying that, okay, let me take on the day. So there are various techniques that I share in the 21-day transformation program, which allows you to sleep deeply. Because I had another participant who had anxiety. So he would wake up in the middle of the night with cold sweat and all. So by doing the techniques that we did, now he's on track to sleeping much better.
Thank you.
Extended question on the sleep part of it is, I am sleepy. I go to bed, but I'm unable to sleep. Any quick suggestions based on your expertise?
So very quick suggestions, and we all know it, but we do not put in action, is the screen. This is a very big enemy where sleep is concerned, because if there are doctors on this platform, you will know that melatonin, which is a sleep hormone, which helps you for the circadian rhythm, because our body is built according to a cycle. We go through a cycle, right? So melatonin is released at around 8 o'clock, between 8 and 9, and that helps you to sleep well. So if you want to sleep well, stop looking at any screen after 6:30. Do not eat after 7 p.m. because with heavy stomach, if you've had a heavy meal, it's difficult to sleep properly, right? You don't sleep so well. So the simplest two things is that stop looking at the screen, darken your room, have very nice ambient lighting from 8 o'clock onwards. And then you see 10 o'clock, you'll be passed out. No coffee, of course, no tea, coffee, no stimulants, no alcohol after 6:30. So very simple techniques, but to put them into action, that is the challenge. So take it on.
That's right. You got to take it on. How do we help children cope up with stress? Because in current days, I think children are more stressed than the parents. And a lot of stress that the parents undergo is because of the children.
Well, it's vice versa, really, because again, parenting is a very it's a separate topic altogether. But what I say is, if your child sees you dealing with a situation in a calm manner, that itself, so you lead by example. If you're going to be screaming and shouting, and if you're all over the place, the child also automatically, by osmosis or whatever it is, that the child also starts getting stressed out, and the child then deals with the issues in his life or her life in a similar manner. So first and foremost, if you're a parent of a child, start practicing meditation, start calming yourself so that you lead by example, right? And second part, very important thing, is communication. Having the channel of communication without being judgmental with a child helps the child in coming to you with whatever issues he or she is going through, and through communication you can understand and guide him, not really give the solution, but nudge very gently for the child to find solutions for himself or herself, of whatever the stress is that is there in the child's life.
Very often, extending the same argument, we also tend to get stressed when a loved one is in stress.
Yeah.
How do we first overcome it and then try to counsel that person?
Right. So first and foremost, it's crucial to understand if the issue, whatever the loved one is going through, is clinical. Because if it is clinical, then it's advisable to take the person to a mental health professional. Very, very crucial, right? If it is not, if it is just generally because of hormones or because of mood swings or because of this unnatural, so to say, normal situation, then again you lead by example. So you can even create space to say that, right now, let's not have this discussion. I'm going to the other room. We will have this discussion maybe after you have your food, or whenever, when you are in a calmer manner, in a calm state. So that's the way to do it.
Related to children and parents, very often we hide our emotions from our children, and in the process we get stressed. What do you recommend as the ideal solution?
First and foremost, one has to understand that children are very perceptive. So even if I'm showing something on my face, they will know. So not showing your emotions, that is not the right strategy. So of course, don't fight in front of the children, or don't tell them as it is. That's the other extreme that one can avoid, because they don't have that kind of rational thinking, especially under the age of 10. So don't go into that, I tell my child everything. No, that is not what I'm saying. However, just by not showing, or you think you're not showing, that doesn't work like that. Children are extremely perceptive. So if you are sad, it's best to tell the child that, such a situation has happened and I'm not in the right frame of mind. Let me just recuperate, let me heal, and I will tell you what it is. And have a proper, frank conversation. Again, it depends on the age of the child, right? You cannot, it's not a one size fits all kind of a solution. So you have to be aware of what age the child is. But even a 3-year-old will sense, a baby senses, right? When you smile at the baby, you're not saying, oh, I'm a happy person, smile at me. But the child responds back, right? If you look at it, even a baby, even an infant with an angry attitude or anger, the baby will start crying, and we all have seen it. So by hiding emotions, so to say, it's not like we will do a great job, because we'll sense it.
All right. We have with us Indrapalji, who's been a past president of BMA and a very senior professional from the Godrej Group. Indrapalji, over to you.
Yeah. My question is, Aditi, you mentioned about the spiritual dimension of life. Now, yes. How does one embark on spiritual journey? All our life we have been working from, say, 8 to 7, 10, and 6 days a week, etc., and busy with our all affairs.
Yes.
So how does one make a beginning? Because I understand that it's a different journey than being religious.
Yeah.
So how significantly it is different, and what are the baby steps one can take to embark on it, so that there is a long-lasting benefit?
Right. So I will not get into the religiousness or religions per se, because again, that's a very large topic, a long topic, and that can be a session by itself. However, I'll speak about spiritualities. How to start is to take the first step. So Indrapalji, and thank you for pointing that out, because people think that, oh, spirituality is for post 65 or post 70. No, actually spirituality should start in school. The minute the child becomes aware, we should inculcate that habit in children. It should become way of life. So meditation is a physical activity that I do with myself where my mind is concerned. But being meditative throughout the day should be the end goal. So even if I'm screaming and shouting at my child, if you take my pulse, it is not gone up. I'm showing my anger, my displeasure by shouting at him, because at certain times it's because that's another question that I get, right? That, oh, does spirituality, or if I'm spiritual, does it mean that I will be a walkover? No, in fact, you become a lot more assertive. Just by me looking at somebody, they will know that I'm not happy with them. And they will themselves say, ma'am, I'm sorry, this is a mistake that I made. So what is spirituality and how to start it is that what I would challenge you, if I may, Mr. Indrapal, is after the session, just for 5 minutes, only for 5 minutes, wherever you're sitting, just sit down with both your feet on the ground, place your palms on your knees facing upwards and very relaxed. Roll back your shoulders, chin parallel to the ground, close your eyes and just observe your breathing for 5 minutes. Observe the breathing. The mind will go here and there because our mind is like a monkey. It will jump from past to future to what happened 20 years back to what I'm going to eat for dinner, or I'm going to have, a glass of water or whatever. That's okay. That will happen initially. Bring it back very gently, like a wild horse, how it's tamed. You very gently bring it back. So similarly with your mind, you do that. You just bring it back to say, no, this is the task. I need to focus on my normal, natural breathing and keep focusing as the air is going in and as a breath is coming out. That is a meditation. And then you increase that time. So 5 minutes can become 10 minutes to half an hour. So if you meditate for half an hour every day, your spirituality is taken care of.
Thank you.
All right. We have Professor Kondap, a very senior academician and also a past president of BMA. Kondap, sir, over to you.
Well, thank you, sir. Dr. Aditya, I got maybe a funny question to you. Pardon me for asking you, as a senior citizen, worked throughout my career almost 22 to 24 hours a day practically. And now to come back to meditation or controlling all the 7 habits that you're trying to tell. I tried a lot, but then maybe after 3 months, I lose everything. What is that you suggest? Because some of my colleagues have said, but the point that I'm trying to convey to you is getting the process back to normal in a group, maintaining the patience, the perseverance, and most importantly, what you said, resilience in the beginning. How do we integrate this? It's okay for a childhood, we can start inculcating these kind of things. But at this stage, rightly said by my colleague Indrapal, where we work 22 hours a day, I'm sure Suresh will also agree the way we work. So how do we bring this transformation at this age? A quick tip on this.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for the question. Very relevant one, because most of us, like I said, that the 8 buckets, some of them are upside down, right? So the beginning is to first turn it around to say, okay, I need to start working on this. So that awareness that, okay, now that you've become aware that spirituality or meditation is very, very crucial, that itself is a baby step towards filling that bucket up, right? And if you remember, I never use the word control. We are not trying to control anything. Even your mind, if you heard me, I never said it's about controlling your mind. It's becoming aware. That's a very different, that word has a very different connotation. So when I'm saying control, it means power. It means pressure. We are not doing that. For no bucket, none of the bucket, we are trying to control anything. Yeah, so that's the first part of it. And the only way to begin is to start. There is no other way. So I would really recommend everybody on this. There are 108 people, 108 participants, including me. So let's take up this challenge that after the session is over, after we say bye-bye, let's sit with ourselves without immediately looking at the phone. Resist that temptation. Who has messaged you can wait for 5 minutes. That email can certainly wait for 5 minutes. Because ultimately, if I ask you, Mr. Kondap, that who is it that you spend maximum time with in your life? Is it your spouse? Is it your children? Is it your parents? The answer to that is yourself. in life the maximum time you spend is with yourself, then isn't it our responsibility to have a wonderful relationship with yourself? And if it is not, if you're not enjoying being with yourself, then there's some reason to it, right? So let's delve into that what is the reason that I cannot spend 5 minutes in peace with myself. So after the session, I would request
Sure.
everybody to sit for 5 minutes the way I explained. That is your beginning, that is your start doing it for 5 minutes whenever you have time. Okay, chalo, let me just sit for 5 minutes, let me see what happens.
Okay.
That's the way to do it.
That's a wonderful suggestion, and I'm sure many people are going to take it very, very
Oh,
seriously.
I want everybody on this call to sit for 5 minutes after. It's not up for argument. It is not up for discussion. I'm not taking any excuses. Sit for 5 minutes with yourself, spend that beautiful time with yourself, and you will see the difference. The transformation starts now.
All right, two more questions. I know that questions are coming on, but we'll have to pause at some point in time. Two more questions. Even after 1.5 years of practicing meditation, my mind is like a monkey. It still keeps jumping. Please advise what should be the next steps.
Sure. So you continue doing it, you continue being on the track, and perhaps the meditation you're doing is not appropriate for you, because there are many types of meditations. There are so many, there are thousands of kinds of meditation that are available in the world. So you need to check, maybe not continue window shopping, because a lot of people are fond of it, that they'll do one, then they'll do another, then they'll do another. Don't keep doing that, but do a few. And the minute you feel that this is what is working for you, stick to it. Just stay with it. So whether it's transcendental, whether it is chanting some mantra or whatever it is, whether it's walking meditation, where you're walking again without the phone, you're just observing things, that is walking meditation, right? If you eat by being aware of the texture of the food, the taste, you're looking at the food without any distraction, that is meditation. So, however, the mind, when it's like a monkey, you need to give it certain kind of discipline, right? So then there are various other ways of meditation which might work better. So just become aware that, okay, you might want to try some other techniques and see what suits you.
The suggestion you made about the schedule, 6:30, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, is very idealistic. Can you give us an alternative schedule considering routine life in Bombay?
Well, I am not the producer of melatonin in our body, so I cannot take responsibility of that. Unfortunately, whether we want to alter our schedule or not, the melatonin will be secreted at that time. So if you want to change your sleep quality, then you'll have to change your schedule. There's nothing that you or I can do, because that's how the circadian rhythm is built.
Wonderful. I guess before we started the session, when we were just getting ready in the green room or the back room, as we say, Suresh Matre and Dr. Aditi and me had a discussion. Are we going to have a century today? And I think in IPL days, nothing better than a century. And I must compliment Dr. Aditi for this wonderful session. And we touched 121 participants.
Oh,
but
wow.
as it happens, people do walk in and walk out. A round of applause for that. I'm happy to share this is the second time we reached the century, and without sounding very gender biased, this is the first program by a lady which has reached 100. So
Yes.
Century, and congratulations to you on that. I'm going to request Suresh to make some closing remarks, and then we will move on to completion of this program. Over to you, Suresh.
I was just about to go for a walk after my 5-minute meditation, but I have to stay back to say a very, very big thank you to Aditi. I've seen her in various avatars over a period of time, and she's a wonderful, wonderful speaker. She believes in the subject. She has a passion and a remarkably high IQ. So when she's put her life experiences together, and over a 21-day program, she transforms either organizations or you individually. I think that's a great service which she is rendering to us. She's now got into an online avatar, and that's also great because a lot more can then participate. And I'm sure that all of us who've been attending this program, I know I'm going to volunteer for that 21-day program and log in. Even with the steps that she has given. So I'm sure a lot of our members are looking forward to taking this as a long-term solution. Stress-free living, big promise, and I'm sure Aditi is going to help us in that journey. So thank you so much, Dr. Govitrikar. Thank you, Professor Mani. I think we crossed 100, and that's a great, BMA response. So wonderful, and we look forward to many more programs like this, Professor Mani.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Mani. Thank you, Suresh, for introducing me to Professor Mani. And thank you, everyone, for being on this webinar. I hope that I made some difference in everybody's lives, but I'm still saying that 5 minutes is something that, as a fee to this program, I want that.
Certainly, and may I also request that, as we always do, we'd like to capture this moment that we spent with you. May I request everyone to put on your videos so that we can have a digital photograph to serve as a memory of the wonderful learning experience that we had today. Everyone can put on your cameras. We have an absolutely efficient digital photography team in the form of the secretariat of the BMA. So I'll request my colleagues Lakshmi, Oindrila, to please do the honors and give us a heads up once you're done. In the meantime, your feedback is more than welcome. If you have any suggestions on what other programs we could organize for you, please let us know. Happy to share with you that next week we have a very interesting session on battling and winning cancer. I know it's a very difficult topic, and yet we have Dr. Prasad, who is the head of oncology of Harkishan Das Hospital, who will be addressing us. Do keep your slot free and come and attend this interesting program next Wednesday as part of our Wednesday Wisdom webinar. And for corporates, this Friday is a very interesting topic on succession planning and the challenges thereof in the corporate world. Those of us who are in the BMA database will keep getting all the emails. Others are welcome to join the BMA family, be part of this moment where we are trying to help you learn through the lockdown. And I'm happy to share that we've already completed a golden jubilee of such programs till now. And with your support, like Aditi did, BMA hopes to hit a century in the next couple of months. Thank you very much, everybody. There are 5 screens, so please show some digital patience so that we can capture almost all of you who are present here. I also noticed here one of our regular members, Sanjay Bodka. He incidentally is a pilot, and he just come down to ground earth, I think, after a flight. So you can see him right there, eagerly attending the session. Sanjay had mentioned to me that मैं ज़मीन पे आ जाऊंगा तो मैं ज़रूर attend करूंगा. Thank you, Sanjay, for being here. It's such a pleasure to see you doing duty there, serving all those people who need that bit of travel across the country, and also here being with us this evening. On that note, let me thank every one of you again. Stay safe and stay blessed. And thank you, Aditi, immensely. And I promise, as we said, those of you who needed details of the program, it will be emailed to you by tomorrow. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody.